$26 million of dentist investment capital disappears. Some of you may not have heard of this story, some of you haven't, but a very popular guy, I don't want to say his name because hasn't come out official word yet, but many dentists have been involved. In today's video, we're going to break down the scheme, what we think is actually happening in this case, an egregious example where dentists had a tremendous breach of trust and a lot of people got hurt by this. So we're going to break down exactly what happened here, as well as ways that we could have potentially prevented this from happening. And we're going to talk about what could have been done differently that may have caused some dentists to maybe not invest, or at least ask more questions, do more due diligence. And this, so what we're gonna see in this video, we're gonna see the importance of due diligence in passive investments, and we can see that passive investments incur a significant amount of risk. All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Johnny Walker, AKA Dr. Jonathan Witanachi. It's good to be back. I haven't recorded a video in a while. I want to say that I had one of my is becoming a budding good friend of mine. His name is Dr. Sunit. Dr. Sunit, if you're watching this video, this is a shout out to you. Now, Dr. Sunit is an allergy doctor, and he's started getting involved, interested in investing in real estate and in passive investments. And it's something that he hasn't come across in his medical training, obviously, as a professional, and he's been intrigued by the YouTube video. He's been texting me and letting me know that, hey, look, man, I'm getting immense value from your videos. I'm learning a ton. And that's given me a lot of encouragement, right, guys? So if you guys are getting value from this, smash the like button. If you're getting value from this, from my channel, please share with some of your colleagues, right? Some of the people that might also be like-minded and also want to learn from this. I think that if we grow our community, we can serve each other better. We can all grow together faster. So shout out to Dr. Sunit. Thank you for the encouragement. YouTube channel, videos. We're going to keep the content coming. We're going to keep educating doctors on how they can take back the reins on Main Street and slowly wean themselves off of Wall Street. That's what this channel is about. That's what this community is about. We have a Facebook group called Financial Freedom for Dentists. If you're not part of that, definitely join that. And of course, the last thing I want to mention before we get into today's video, we have our first in-person meeting coming up. A place to network with like-minded doctors, real estate investors, entrepreneurs, thought leaders. It's going to be a room filled with immense energy and power. And I want to meet you guys there. It's going down in Dallas on August 16th, 2024. As of today, the recording of the video, we have exactly 18 tickets left. Go to passiveinvestmentfordentists.com. That link should be in the description below. Estimated $26 million of dentists' capital, hard-earned, heavily taxed dentist dollars were lost. What was the scam? Now, let's talk a little background about this guy. This guy has been around for at least 12 years, working with dentists and giving them access to investments. 12 years at least. I've spoken to many doctors. They've reached out to me because I posted about this in Facebook group, calling this person out without saying his name. The people that were in the know, they knew. They reached out to me. I pieced together through multiple good friends of mine that have lost money, and I pieced together what I can, and I'm going to share that with you today. Now, where he was involved with most dentists that were involved with him, he had a couple other stuff he did, but the main thing that he did was hard money lending. Now, hard money lending is a form of lending where you're basically giving money with very low due diligence. A flipper might use hard money with high interest payments, very high interest payments, not through traditional financing through a bank where it takes 60 days to get mortgages. Instead, you can go to lenders, private people that have a lot of money, they lend money and at very high interest rates. Now, that's what this guy was doing. He was taking dentist money, paying them high interest rates, and using that money to flip houses, right? So they would buy houses that were kind of run down, beat up, fix them up, put money into them, and then sell them, make a profit, pay back the doctors their invested capital, and then they keep the profit. So he's been doing this for a few years, and it's been going very well. That business has been doing very well. And several of these dentists have done multiple investments with them. They've done an investment with him, got their cash flows just like they were supposed to, got their money back. They've done it 2 or 3 times. They've rinsed and repeated 2 or 3 times over the years. So there was no red flags. There's no real reason for anyone to think anything, right? Everyone's getting paid. He's also very well respected. He's been vetted by some of the biggest dental investment groups. He's been vetted by some of the biggest real estate mastermind groups. He's a guy that was very well versed. Everybody kind of knew this guy, right? So it seems like, he had a very successful family. His children are successful, upstanding citizens. On the surface, very little reason to have any red flags or any suspicion. So when it came out that, hey, one day we're pausing distributions on your investments. We're going to stop paying distributions. This is what's word from his camp. When people start looking into it, like, hey, what's going on? They said, hey, look, this guy has gone missing. He's not answering his cell phone. He's not responding to emails. He hasn't spoken to his wife in 2 days. People are starting to get worried. There's an outpouring on Facebook. Everyone's hitting his timeline. Hey, I just remember the days when we used to do X, Y, and Z. I just pray that you come home. Please come home. We miss you. We love you. His wife puts an emotional post begging and pleading anyone for information, literally crying on Facebook for information on the whereabouts of this guy. So police get involved. A week goes by, still missing, completely missing. His business is just left in shambles. Nobody really knows who runs what. Nobody even knows how this company's run, like how the inner workings of it, because the next guy was his chief of staff, who says, hey, admittedly says, I don't really know what's going on with the day-to-day. I just kind of do what I'm told. So a lot of red flags started coming up. And now then it found out through police investigation that this guy has intentionally disappeared. He's not under duress. He's seen under security cameras. They think he's gone to Mexico and he's looking to relocate somewhere in South Asia. $26 million is a lot of money. Maybe that's enough to turn somebody and turn their back on their family, their friends, and start a whole new life. Now, the worst part about this is that I've seen people close to me get hurt. People have broke down crying on the phone. Their life savings have been invested. This guy was seen, I actually spoke at a summit. I shared a stage with him. We were both on an investment panel. We were both invited to speak. And I met him. He seemed a genuine person. He seemed kind, but it was all one big fat lie. He had siphoned a small fortune from investors who trusted him and literally disappeared. As each day passes, I learn of another victim. This is a tremendous breach of trust. Someone might even feel violated, right? Personally violated, that their money was literally stolen. It wasn't lost because it was a bad investment and things went wrong. It was stolen. The lack of morality, the lack of ethics, it's really hard to even describe. Now, here's some things to consider about investing. Now, that doesn't mean that, hey, we should run away from investing. Well, I would counter that, right? So let's take a look at what happened with that deal. Now, first things to consider, anytime that you're investing, and this example highlights it very much, investment in private offerings incur significant risk, up to and including loss of invested capital. Let me say that again. In all investment incurs significant risk, up to and including loss of capital. This is true of not just real estate. This is true of any investment that you make. Anytime your money has left your bank account with the hopes of it coming back a bigger amount, you're incurring risk. The amount of risk will change depending on what the deal is, but you're incurring risk nonetheless. Number two, don't follow the herd. This is another lesson that I would learn here. Just because a whole bunch of other people that you know maybe think is very smart, they've invested with these people, that automatically vets them for you and they're like, hey, look, I trust them, so I'm going to trust these people too. Don't do that. Trust but verify. Do your own due diligence on these individuals and operators. This example of this guy is a perfect scenario of why we need to do that. Number three, don't trust too easy. It doesn't matter how nice or genuine or kind a person seems. Now, don't get me wrong. In order to invest, you do have to take a leap of faith at some point. You do have to trust someone to a certain extent in order to invest money with them. But the main thing is to trust but verify. Trust but verify. Number four, have diversification of who that you invest with. By investing across multiple operators, right? Multiple different guys doing multiple businesses and maybe in multiple geographic locations, maybe even in different multiple asset classes. This allows you to diversify from any one bad actor. Right now, I told you about one of my friends had her life savings with this guy because he's just done very well for her. She's made a lot of money, and so she's moved all her money with this guy. Don't do that. Diversify. Don't have all your eggs, not ever more than 30% of your eggs with any one operator asset class, right? Or any one operator. Diversify that. And even if you do, if you have 20 different deals that you've invested in, and you have one where it's a bad actor, yeah, you have some exposure to loss, but you have 19 others that help float the entire ship, right? So that's the diversification of who you invested. So the second last one, diversification of what you invest in. By investing in different asset classes, you greatly reduce your risk and exposure to the cyclicality of any individual investment. Number six, the last one, learn how to do proper due diligence on passive investments or work with someone who does know how. Like Walk of Wealth, for example. So now the next question that arose is, I've never done any business with this guy. I don't know him other than what people have told me about him. I don't know about the internal workings of his business, nor have I picked his brain or any of that. But this spooked me. As a fund manager that looks for great deals, great operators, so that my investors can invest in great deals, is a job I take very seriously. Because of that, I am part of a group that collectively, there's 60 fund managers, and we do collective due diligence. We look at we analyze deals together, and we collectively do due diligence on the deal. This allows us to get the brain trust of a whole bunch of different real estate entrepreneurs with different backgrounds, and we ask a lot of insightful questions, and we find out about this deal. We dig into the deal, we dig into who that person is, that operator, and we decide like, hey, look, this deal is worth taking a shot because look, the business plan is incredible, there's an incredible deal, or hey, look, there's things that are red flags, this deal doesn't really fit our criteria. And so we've gotten very good at vetting out the BS, getting rid of the bad operators. And I went back to my group and I said, hey, do you think that our process would have caught this guy? Or would this guy have duped us just like he's duped a whole bunch of people for a year? And I asked this very pointedly because it shook me to the core, because I want to be able to avoid these type of guys. I want to be able to spot these type of guys from a mile away. So I went back and asked them, would we have found it with our process? Which we have a 265-point due diligence checklist. And the answer is yes, there would. We found some areas that there are definitely some major red flags that may or may not have been missed by other groups if they've done proper due diligence at all in the first place. This video is getting a little longer, so I'm going to just break down like the top 3 things that I saw would have had red flags. Now in our due diligence process, it's mandatory that the key person of any company or key principles of any company has a background check. Background checks are very revealing to tell you about potential things that you might be concerned about. Now, this individual, if a background check had been done back in 2011, he has a conviction for perjury. He is a convicted liar. This is a major red flag right from the beginning. We weight the sponsor trust very high. This would raise some very major red flags, right? Perjury. Number 2, when the deal went wrong and south and he disappeared and nobody knew what was going on, it was chaos. Nobody knows what to do. We're freezing distributions. We're not giving out any more deals. We're not doing anything. Meanwhile, these properties are sitting, not being managed. They're getting worse every day. Maybe tenants are leaving. Maybe tenants stop paying rent. The place starts to fall apart. And because nobody's doing anything, everything's frozen until FBI investigation is done. Money is frozen. Now all of a sudden, the properties are start deteriorating. The business starts to fall apart because there's nobody managing it anymore. Now, in our due diligence, we say, hey, in the time of a death or disability of ability for management to do what they're supposed to do, we have the right to come in and replace that with a new property manager. So there needs to be wordage that we can step in if things aren't being done in the right way. Number 3, understanding the org chart. What is this organization? How does this organization run? He's running a pretty significant operation. So potentially there should be a flow chart of companies, where cash flows go to. Do they go to management companies? Where do they go to investors? It should be very clearly mapped out. And if it's a large company, there should be multiple other key employees, and we should be able to see what exactly that they do. Understanding the org chart will help to really understand if this is a legitimate company or not. In this guy's case, he was like a lone wolf. He had some team members that were kept in the dark, probably purposefully, and he wouldn't have been able to produce an org chart, right? Because he was doing things in a shady way. When asked by some savvy dentist that caught him and like, hey, what's going on? Where are the deeds? Where are the titles for the properties that we're buying? He broke down crying, and they said they gave an Academy Award performance and said, hey, my employee made a mistake. Going forward, we're going to show you all the deeds and all this. Another major red flag. And the last one that I want to touch on, where this is another thing that we ask for, in the case of fraud or misuse, we have the ability to take control rights of the property right away. So in this scenario, even if he had disappeared, we'd still have the ability to immediately take over. As soon as we know that there's fraud involved, he's intentionally disappeared, we're taking the motion to take over that property today. So that way we can fix up anything that's happened, and we can put in proper management, and we have a mechanism to at least try to preserve our capital. Maybe we can sell off some assets just to get our money back. But in this case, that's not happening, and things are just going into disarray. This is just a few things that I highlighted. I do believe that if we went deeper in due diligence on the sponsor himself, with track record, with other investor testimonials, etc., we'd probably find out some more things. So my point is, ladies and gentlemen, this video is not to scare you, but it can show you that if with the proper due diligence, we hopefully can weed out these bad actors. And we definitely increase our chances of being able to do that if we know what questions to ask and what criteria we want in an investment, what risk tolerance that we're willing to take on. And the best way to objectively do that is by going through a robust due diligence process so you can make a informed decision. All right, guys, hope that helps. Just keep your bank accounts growing, the information flowing. Click on the next video. I'm Dr. Johnny Walker. I'll see you next time. Boom.